Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera. So we're going to in cloud computing, which is the cloud computing deployment model. The topic cover would be the famous four deployment model: private, public, hybrid, and community cloud. And we're going to look into development of cloud computing application development, infrastructure, and system development. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain cloud deployment model and the underlying division of responsibility that distinguishes them. So we look at the differences between the cloud deployment model, and somehow there is a cross between the deployment model. We need to understand the current private, public, hybrid, and community cloud, and we discuss the issues in cloud application development. So as you know, okay, we have four types of deployment model: public, private, hybrid, or known as a heterogeneous cloud, and the community cloud. So the the hybrid is the combination of public and private, and community is actually more onto private because it is limited accessibility to the specific community or group of people. So this is the service model and deployment model. You should know the differences between the service model and deployment model. In the previous chapter 3, we are discussing about the service model, the IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and then each of these is service for the deployment model. So for example, it's in the private cloud, maybe we only have IaaS and SaaS, as it depends on the configuration. So right now you already know what is the distinguish or the differences between what is service model and the deployment model. So the private cloud, it's normally in the private premises or institution or in the private place, and it is standalone for the organization. So it is totally private with a high security requirement and high management demand, and the availability is thoroughly for the private purpose or stand-alone organization. So for the name itself, we look at the public cloud. The cloud is open to the wider public. This type of cloud service is provided on a network for public use. So that means a customer has no control. Everybody can access this model, whatever services that they are provide. This is normally for the small sector or medium size of company where they cannot afford to create or build the private cloud. Okay, we look at the community cloud. The cloud is characterized by a multi-administrative domain involving different deployment models such as public, private, and hybrid. Okay, this is purposely the group of people that have multiple management people that share among the cloud deployment. Okay, so for example, when we take a look like Malaysian government itself, so we have a state, and then we have a state like Johor, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, located in the southern region, and then we have the northern region. So maybe they have this some sort of a community cloud just for the southern region, and then there is a community cloud for the northern region. But they also then can combine all of these cloud deployment with the certain services available, and then they can be connected to each other, but for each of the state can have a different management team in terms of assessment, security, and everything related to the server management. And then the last one, for the community cloud, most of the time the community cloud is shared a different same purpose. Okay, they have a same purpose, same organization, so that's why it is called a community cloud. So unlike hybrid cloud, hybrid cloud is the combination of private and public cloud. Okay, but each can remain as separate entities. Further, as part of this deployment of cloud computing model, the internal or external providers can provide resources. So, um, a hybrid cloud is ideal for scalability, flexibility, and security. The name itself, the hybrid, means the combination, the integration between a private and public. So, for example, you can access a certain part of the services as a public cloud, and then another part of the services as a private cloud. So it is the same location, for example, within the same organization, but they have both these private and public. So that is all of the model, but it's depend on the configuration. So as a cloud services administrator, you need to configure depend how the organization want to. So this is the advantage and characteristic of the cloud deployment model. As you can see, uh, public shift capital expenses to operating expense, for paid as you go pricing, support multiple tenants. So this is the normal practice for the cloud services. Okay, what you are doing now, for example, the storage that you have, the simple example is the Google Drive. Okay, when you want to extend the capacity of the storage, you just pay extra. Okay, when you look at the AWS, for example, when we buy the storage space and the bandwidth for the accessing the website, okay, when the accessible is increased, so the price is going to be increased. So that is considered as a public model. Okay, right now, most of the time that we are using is related to a public model. So let's see the private. The private model is leveraging existing capital expense. Okay, we manipulate all the expenses based on the requirement that the organization want. Okay, it can help the reduce of operating costs. It's intended for the single tenant. So it is setting even the facilities inside the premises, okay, which is not really good for now. For example, in AWS, we can set a private cloud, setting up the private cloud, even though the server is not located in the premises. So right now, this is the current practice for the organization to organize the private cloud. Okay, and let's go for the hybrid. So the hybrid is bridge one or more community, private or public clouds. It allows manipulation of CapEx and OpEx to optimize costs. Go refer back in the chapter 3, the capital expenditure versus the operation expenditure. So you should know about that. It's to optimize the cost and support resource portability. So um, the hybrid can be involved anything as long as it's integrated, and setting it's depend on the management of the public, I mean the cloud services. even provider or the management team, whether you want to assign a group of people for the private or the public cloud, or even the community cloud. So as long as it is the integrated, the combination, we call it an hybrid. And then the last one, the advantage and characteristic of a community cloud is allow sharing of CapEx and OpEx to reduce costs, bring together group with common interests, like I said before, same the organization, for example, like the government services from a southern region, a group of southern states, and something related that has the same purpose and objective for the organization. Or and then the community it support resource portability for the community model. So you now know the differences between the public, private, hybrid, and a community. In the future, maybe there is some models that going to be used. Okay, but the fundamental thing is the public and private cloud. So this is the comparison chart. You can see the differences between owner, okay, management complexity, scalability, and flexibility. And then we have a security, okay, and then reliability and the cost. So let's see for the cost. So the deployment, okay, the high cost is of course the private cloud. All right, you can take a look at the comparative table later on, so you know which one is the explanation differences. So this is the objective that you want to find today, the distinguish between different model. Okay, what is the best? It's depend on your planning. Okay, it's depend on your cost. Okay, there is a lot of factors infecting choosing the cloud deployment model. So it's depend on the first one is the business requirement, or the second one is existing infrastructure. Even though you already have the infrastructure in non-cloud basis, but you want to migrate to the cloud. So what is happening right now? Most of the services of cloud and deployment, and most of the application that stand alone in the private now is going to be deployed in the cloud environment. And the third one is the security and compliances is determine the level of control and security necessary for your operation. For me, it is good to deploy in the cloud because it is zero tolerance and zero down. And then the not best part is you just share your information data to the cloud. So we don't know what is actually happen in the cloud, even though most of the well-known company like AWS, Microsoft, Google claim that data is being encrypted and has the good security and privacy. So the fourth one is the resource availability. Consider the expertise and resources available for managing the chosen model. So you need to consider this also. Okay, even though we let the cloud services handle most of the infrastructure, but we need to have someone expert in managing the cloud services for your organization or company. Okay, for example, a startup may favor public cloud for cost effectiveness, while financial institution might opt for private or hybrid model to meet strengthened compliance standard. So it depends on this one, two, three, or four thing for choosing the right cloud deployment model. So we are going towards the end of this chapter. It's a very short chapter. So we'll find one example of real world deployment model. So it's going to be your project too. Maybe you can get the idea for this. Okay, you need to do a chapter 4 exercise. I'm going to be sharing in the author, and please refer to extra available note. Okay, so this is notes and exercise. Okay, please go through. I already provide the answer, some of them, but for the non-provided answer, you need to discuss with your friend. Okay, and also you can discuss with me. So this is the infographic. So I just create it out loud from a notebook LM. It's quite simple. I also have another poster for this. So please take a look at author and our group. I will I will deploying notes and exercises. Okay, that's all for the class. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.